Good morning. All right, we got our 2021 New York Rangers season preview. Just some thoughts, comments, future direction, predictions, rumor mill discussion, see what's what. So we'll start from reading the Post and looking at training camp roster, seeing what's what, the lines they have in place right now. Again this year, going to be a very young team. And I think something too that's interesting, which leads me to my prediction. So the Rangers haven't named a captain yet, and I don't think they will. I think they're going to go with the alternate committee again. Now, Larry Brooks wrote an article saying he thinks Zibanejad's deserving of the captaincy, which I don't disagree with. But the Rangers long term are not keeping him because he's going to want too much money, and deservingly so. But I don't think he's going to be worth the money, because I think I think he only has a couple more seasons left of this caliber. And I think for a cup run, I don't know if I want him as my number one center. I think he's very I love him. I think he's a great player. I think when Jeff Gorton got him, via the Derek Brassard trade, that was a very under the radar trade that worked out really well. I just know the Rangers and Jeff Gorton, in the sense that if they were to, commit long term to someone, they would have done it already. And I feel they're waiting for Eichel to become a free agent. And they're going to bring Eichel in as the number one center and the captain of the New York Rangers. That's my prediction. Now, I've also was seeing rumors yesterday that the Islanders and the Rangers are apparently interested in Patrick Laine. Now, with the Rangers, because they have, the two buyouts with Shattenkirk and Lundqvist, they have a lot of dead space. They have enough dead space on their cap to, I think it's like $12.5 million. It's some ridiculous number. Basically, they could be paying a superstar to be playing for them. But look, hey, they got to pay for their mistakes. So, this year, that's still on the books. Next year, more of it comes off. The year after that, more of it comes off. They're not going to have Brendan Smith's contract next year, Jack Johnson. So this year, I just really look at this year as them just to get more experience playing. I mean, the season is what it is in the sense. I think there's still enough games. I think there's they're really going to use this to look at the prospects they have. And, I've said this earlier, they are going to get rid of a lot of these highly rated prospects because there's no room for them. And Jeff Gorton is not a dummy. I think he is one of the top GMs in the league. And, he's stockpiling all these picks to basically use them at some point as trade bait to get real players. Because you still need real players on the roster. If you want to be a real cup contending team. I also read too the Rangers have spoken to Brian Boyle, thinking of maybe bringing him in as a veteran, to fill out the bottom six, taking faceoffs and penalty killing. And like I said, I think that's the area. As much skill as the Rangers have, as much offensive force, they don't have any grit, any tenacity up front. I mean, they have a little bit in Kreider, a little bit with guys here and there, but you losing Jesper Fast, which I was sick of him anyway. Not sick of him, but just we've seen him enough. Let's move on. And I'm hoping Kakko and Lafreniere bring that tenacity and that toughness with the skill, because you still need that to win. So yeah, that's what I think. Up front, obviously. Right now they had the lines that just from training camp, projected. Zibanejad's not there yet, but it would be Zibanejad, Kreider, Buchnevich. Then they had Strome with Panarin and Kakko. What was the third line? Lafreniere. I forget it. We'll look at it. And then with the deep pairings, I saw they had D'Angelo with Trouba. D'Angelo's another one. D'Angelo was Michael Del Zotto 2.0. He they want him to play top 4 minutes. I don't see that. I mean, he's offensively capable. I just don't think he's an NHL caliber defenseman. And the sample size is enough at this point. I think they should have traded him this year while his stock was higher, because I don't see Tony DeAngelo working out in New York. I don't. Adam Fox is going to be a staple in New York. We knew that instantly from last year. And I think they should focus on putting their marbles behind him and Trouba and these other younger defensemen who can actually play defense and contribute offensively too. I watch DeAngelo sometimes. I'm just like, dude, come on, So I think that's a pretty big jump from playing on the third pair, not playing any penalty kill, not any big defensive situations, just really being a regular third pair defenseman, getting those minutes and then getting power play minutes, to now jumping to the top 4. I guess, like I said, the Rangers don't have the cap space or the maneuverability right now to really go out and get defensemen. So we'll see what's what. I mean, they added 2 veterans, Jack Johnson and Anthony Boteto. So we'll see what's what with that. I think Boteto should be in the top 6. I think having him and Jack Johnson there is just kind of a safety net for these younger guys. But we'll see. I think defense is the weakest part of the Rangers. I think defense and defense centers and their bottom 6 forwards. I think those are their biggest areas. I mean, the goalies, from the small sample size, have shown that they're NHL caliber. So we'll see this year who emerges as the number 1, if there really is a number 1, and all that. What else? Yeah. So we'll see. And then I know with that, I guess back to that Line rumor mill trade, I think something like that would I would guess would have to include someone like Buchnevich, because Line is a right wing, Buchnevich is a right wing. Maybe a pick or something. I think Line would do well in New York. I think he needs an environment like New York and a coach like Quinn who, for right now, I think David Quinn works well as the New York Rangers coach, given what they have long-term, Stanley Cup contender. I don't know. I know everyone has to start somewhere, and he's making his marks and his moves. So we'll see what's what. I wish him luck. I do like what he brings to the table. And look, you got to start somewhere. So we'll see with that. And then, as far as my predictions for the year, I do see the Rangers making the playoffs. I see them just getting in. I see them losing, in the first round. But again, they're going to need years of, making it to the first round, second round, losing and just building up that experience, and that playoff style of playing. Which, look, as much as the NHL is moving towards skill and speed and younger players, you see by the teams who win the Stanley Cup, you still need those veteran teams. You still need a mix of speed, skill, toughness. Tampa had the perfect mix. St. Louis had a great mix in 19. I love the Bruins in 19, the Caps in 18. I think just people got too gung-ho. And look, rightfully so, when Pittsburgh won in 16 and 17, they kind of blew it up. But people forget they had Sidney Crosby, Malkin, Fleury. They had some real deal guys. Now, granted, they did have younger players. Granted, guys did really step up to the plate. I think too many NHL teams were like, oh, we got to do this. We got to do this. And I think teams, these older teams like Washington, Tampa, Boston, St. Louis, I think they pounced on that opportunity and were like, all right, you guys, you want to get all these younger players and do this? Okay, fine. Pat Maroon, for example, did anyone think 5 years ago Pat Maroon would be like a really talked about player you know, in the NHL, a guy who, you know, basically came into the league as an enforcer almost, and 19 and 20 having, you know, on two different teams, was on St. Louis and Tampa Bay. Like, you still need guys like that. You still need, you know, a big defenseman like Zach Bogosian, clear on the front of the net, skating, you know, 10 feet up ice and just making the pass and getting the puck out of the zone. Like, that's it. You know, you don't need Tony DeAngelo skating like a chicken with his head cut off trying to rush the puck up ice all the time. There's a time and place for that. But again, that playoff tenacity, you know, we saw it. Like, the sample size in the NHL. Like, I'm convinced now to have a winning team, a Stanley Cup team, you need skill, speed, and the toughness. So it's kind of like a hybrid, because you look at the teams like, you know, when LA won, you know, LA had a good mix of, you know, heavy guys who were really gonna, you know, stand up in the playoffs, but they still had that skill and tenacity too, which is something really that I enjoyed watching. And I gotta admit that the playoffs the last few years, in my opinion, have been, you know, some of the most exciting and some of the most what's the word? Like I said, it's just a good mix of like different eras of the NHL. Like I said, because you know, I still, you know, noticed, you know, the old school style, you know, dump and chase and bang on the forecheck, but I still see like that, you know, the new style with, you know, power plays and penalty kills, for example. I love now the newer style power plays, like a breakout, for example, when they're coming up ice and, you know, they're doing like, you know, the old school like Euro style, dropping the puck back and guys are crossing over and skating into it, getting speed. I love that. I love, you know, penalty kills now, and they have 3 guys across the ice, 1 guy in the back. You know, it's cool. But my point being is, obviously, you know, new stuff is going to be introduced to the game, as it should, but there's still tried and true methods that are going to work and they're going to win you championships. And I you know, John Davidson knows that better than anyone. So bringing him in, I think, really set the Rangers up, you know, to orchestrate themselves to be a contender. You know, if he did it in Columbus, he did it in Chicago, he can definitely do it in New York. All right, so that's our season preview. Just some other NHL thoughts. All right, look forward to the season starting and getting some action. And I guess quick Stanley Cup predictions. No idea for Stanley Cup predictions. But if I had to pick, I'm gonna go Avs. I want to see the Avalanche win the Stanley Cup. I want to see Avalanche and Rangers. I mean, not this year, but within like the next 4 or 5 years, I want to see New York, Colorado Stanley Cup, because I think those are going to be the 2 teams to watch. And I think it'll be the 2 best NHL teams in the next 5 years. All right, that's what we got today. All right, Shredneck out. Peace.